This is Friday afternoon, poured this Monday, and we're going to suck everything out, all of my ballast out of the middle. I don't know if I'm going to try to break everything out. It's a little bit late on Friday, and I might want to go in and eat. I'm going to finish this tomorrow morning, but we're going to get everything sucked out. Down over here by the side that you can't see is my shop vac, and I need to get all that sand out of there. And then the bricks are pretty much wedged in place. You can see down in the corners I had a little bit of concrete that spilled over, kind of getting in the way of those screws I got to get out, so I need to kind of chip those out, and we'll need another tool for that. Okay, that's pretty much ready to attempt to get out of there, but I think I'm going to wait until the morning where it's a little bit cooler, so if I have to wrestle with it, the weather won't be so bad. See you in the morning. Here we are the next morning, and we're going to reveal what we've got. But first, we're going to go over here and take a look at the remnants of the concrete in my stepping stone. This was from a frozen food. It had an interesting pattern on the bottom, and I was wondering how that might look as a stepping stone. Let's see how easy it is to get out of here. Maybe I can use this again. So now let's get to the project at hand. Kind of like that one. First step is going to be removing those screws that are holding the inner form. Now that the form has been extricated, let's get a close-up look inside. There were still a lot of bubbles, even with the vibration. I do not know how to resolve that. Here is the PVC pipe I cast in place for the wiring. Overall, not bad for the first attempt ever at casting in place. Now let's get started on the outer form. Well, that is it for the main housing. Now all we have left to do is install the batteries, the wiring, then make a mold and cast a cover for it. I've got a lot of cleanup to do. Stuff is spread all over the place, but as we come outside, I've also got this cable temporarily in there, dropping down on the other side of the block wall. And we come outside, and here's our batteries. So the only thing left to do for this project is to make a cover for it. Be sure to subscribe to follow this project and hit that notification bell to be informed of future updates.